Welcome. We're occupational therapy students from Shawnee State University.
Our target audience today for this video is patients who have recently received a hip replacement. We will be discussing hip precautions for you to follow for your new hip. Your new hip is designed to reduce pain and improve your function. There are certain movements that place undue stress on your new hip before the muscles and tendons around the new joint are healed.
The objectives for this video are: Objective 1, teaching precautions of bending at the hip. Objective 2, instructing proper body mechanics when standing with your new hip. Objective 3, instructing in the correct ways to lie in the bed. Objective 4, instruction on the ways to sit in a chair. Objective 5, instructing on proper ways to shower with your new hip. Objective 6, instructing of proper ways to dress and undress. Objective 7, instructing for toileting with your new hip. Objective 8, instructing on performing household duties with your new hip. By the end of this video, you will have become knowledgeable of the proper ways to follow hip precautions.
We would like to introduce you to Dustin and Seth. Dustin will be showing us the proper way to adhere to hip precautions. Seth will be showing us the improper way to adhere to hip precautions. The first objective we are going to discuss is the proper ways to bend at the hip. With a hip replacement, you will not bend the hip past 90 degrees. This is the proper sitting posture for keeping your hips at 90 degrees.
Seth is now showing us ways we do not want to sit with a hip replacement. You do not cross your legs when setting, even at the ankles. You want to avoid setting on low chairs, toilets, and beds because they require too much bending in your hip. Do not bend forward while sitting in the chair, causing more than a 90-degree bend in your hip.
The next objective is teaching the proper body mechanics when standing with your new hip. You will not cross your legs when standing with a new hip replacement. Also, you will not twist the operated leg inward or outward. Dustin will show the correct way to stand.
Seth is now demonstrating a way we do not want to stand with your operated leg. You do not want to cross your legs. This is also the incorrect way to position your feet. You want to make sure that your foot is not twisted inward or outward.
The next objective will be to teach you the correct way to lie in a bed. Dustin will now show us the correct way. Lie in the bed on your back with your legs slightly apart. You may want to place a pillow between your legs to keep them apart. Use a long-handled reacher to pull up the sheets or blankets. When getting in and out of the bed, always move the operated leg first. Dustin will now demonstrate that he will throw back the covers and move his operated leg first to get out of the bed. While getting out of the bed, keep your legs well apart and lean back to avoid excessive bending when transferring in and out of the bed.
Seth will now show us some things that we shouldn't do when lying in bed. You do not want to cross your legs while lying in the bed, and do not bend to pull up your blankets. You do not want to lie on your side, and you will not want to lie on your stomach.
The next objective will be the instruction of the proper way to sit in a chair. You want to always sit in a chair that is a suitable height and does not require you to bend at the hip more than 90 degrees. Sit in a chair with armrests and use these to help you rise safely to a standing position. While sitting, ensure the back of your knees are close to the chair, grasp the armrests, straighten the knee of the operated leg, and slide the operated leg forward as you lower yourself into the chair, taking your weight through your arms and unoperated leg. Reverse this procedure for standing from the chair. When you return home, avoid sitting for long periods of time.
Seth will now show us a few examples of how you shouldn't sit with your hip. When he is bent, slouched forward, this puts your hips at a 45-degree angle.
The next few objectives will go over activities of daily living. Dustin will now show us the proper way to shower with your new hip. Sit on a shower chair or stool while showering to maximize your safety. If you have a shower over a bath, you may be able to use a bath seat if your bath is a suitable height and ensures that your knees are not higher than your hips when seated. Use long-handled aids, such as a long-handled sponge, to assist with washing your body while you have your new hip.
Seth will now show us some things we should not do while showering with your new hip. You do not want to lie in the bath for bathing. You do not want to lean down to wash or dry your feet during showering.
Dustin will now show us the proper way to dress and undress. You want to be seated when you dress and undress yourself. Dress the operated leg first. When undressing, you want to undress the unoperated leg first. Dustin will now demonstrate how to put a sock on with a long-handled sock aid. Place the sock aid into your sock. Make sure the heel of your sock is at the back of the sock aid. You want to try and to prevent bunching of the sock. Hold the sock aid by the straps with both hands. First, do the foot or of the leg that was injured and has had surgery. While holding the straps, drop the sock aid to the floor in the front of your foot of your weaker leg. Slip onto your foot. Then pull the straps up to pull the sock onto your foot. Pull until the sock is up your leg.
Seth will now show us some things that we do not want to do with our new hip. You do not want to bend or bring your knee up in order to reach your feet to put on pants, socks, or shoes. This is incorrect because it breaks the hip precautions of keeping the hip at 90-degree angles.
Our next objective will be instruction for toileting with your new hip. Use a raised seat on the toilet because most toilet seats are low. Or you could use a 3-in-1 toilet chair with the insert removed, set it over top of the toilet, and sit down, remembering your hip precautions.
Seth will now demonstrate things we do not want to do with our new hip. You should avoid sitting on low toilet seats because they require you to bend your hip more than what is recommended. As you can see here, Seth is bent at a 45-degree angle. We do not want to do this.
Our last objective is instruction on performing household duties with your new hip. You want to sit on a high kitchen stool when cooking. Place items that you use regularly within easy reach to avoid reaching up or bending down. Stock up on commonly used items before your surgery and prepare food in advance, such as frozen dinners, which can be reheated and served easily once you return home. Allow others to help you with your household duties for the first month after your operation.
Seth will now show us some things we do not want to do. Do not bend over to pick up items off the floor. You want to use an easy reacher or a long-handled tongs to avoid excessive bending or twisting when picking up items out of reach. Avoid bending during domestic tasks such as making beds and cleaning bathrooms. Get someone to help you or use a quilt you can simply pull up when you get out of bed. Following your operation, the precautions you need to take to protect your hip will temporarily impact on your ability to perform daily tasks. You may need assistance from other people or the use of adaptive equipment to ensure you are able to manage at home safely.
You totally broke hip precautions there.
No. Oh crap! What was that? What? Oh man! I messed up. Ha!